Rack him.
Yes, Bundy. All you have to do is submit. Just admit who the best team in the league is. Just say it.
No.
Say it and this will all be over.
Child, please.
The bitches, they're calling for mercy. Just do it. Just admit it.
Okay.
He wishes to speak.
Gandhi!
This is your Week 6 recap. Bundy here and you there. I fucking hate all of you, so what do you say we get to this recap? It hurts me to say this, but Andy is the best team in the league. And it's not just because he has a record of 5-0, because as I've told you guys many times, it's not all about the record at the beginning of the season. And I've been on both sides of this. I've been on the positive side, and obviously at this point I'm on the negative side of it. Points dictate a lot at the beginning of the season, but there's so much distance between Andy and Paul's team. And the main reason why there's so much distance is Paul's number one scorer is Lamar Jackson, which is pretty normal, right? 116 points. He's the fourth ranked quarterback, which is good. It's great for Paul. You know, in my opinion, the best thing that could have happened to Paul is just going with a quarterback. Drew Brees sort of forced his hand, and now that he's hurt, Paul just has to make a decision and play one quarterback, and it's been a benefit to him. Lamar Jackson with 116 points is his number one player. At the number 2 slot is Paul's defense. The New England Patriots have scored 100 points this season. He started off playing the Denver defense in week 1, and since then, the New England defense has scored 37 points in week 2, in week 3, 14, week 4, 25, and just this week, 14 points. 100 points by your defense. The third ranked player on Paul's team is Amari Cooper with 78 points. And that's because Amari Cooper just scored 28 points this week. Now, what's going on Andy's side? Andy has about 2 to 3 points less than Paul with about, let me see. Take a look at the standings here. I hate this interface, man. This interface sucks. I don't understand why ESPN did this. I feel like they just did this to spite me. But I just don't like the look of it. I think it was so... It worked. It worked then. And now it's all over the place. It's just trying to be a little too fancy. It doesn't work for me. But I'll try to see what I can do. Andy has scored 568 points, and Paul has scored 571. So they're basically, the same team, basically. But at this point, Andy's number one scorer is Christian McCaffrey with 124 points. Second to that is Delvin Cook with 98. And then after that, he's got Derrick Henry with 75. Andy has actual scorers on his team. And as I said, with Paul, he's on the decline, man. Eckler is, it's going to be a running back by committee. I don't know when exactly that they'll decide to give, more of the carries to Melvin Gordon, but I don't see anything great about Paul's team. I see a bunch of bloated performances, and look, man, just dig into the papers. Just have a look yourself. If your defense is the second best slot on your team, then what do you really have? We can all score 115, 120 points early in the season, and our stat sheet can make us look like we're something that we're not. And in Paul's case, that's exactly what it is, because I would even go as far as to say that my team is better than Paul's. And I know. I get it. I get you guys. You guys are on my dick. You know, you guys like to say, well, you look at your record, you 1-4. That doesn't matter. And as a matter of fact, I have history on my side, you know. I have history is on my side, and history will show you that the beginning of your season doesn't fucking matter at all. If you attract your attention to the 2016 season, where I mentioned earlier this week, Pedro started off the 2016 season with a record of 5-0. He was able to score 537 points between those weeks, which, remember, 537, and Andy has 568. So Andy scored more points up until this point. But after week 5, Dro lost 4 straight games, and in week 10, he finally picked up a victory against
Bundy.
Against me. He got back in the W column. But my point is this. The beginning of the season is almost, it's not pointless, of course. All this matters. All these points matter. But the way a team starts doesn't necessarily tell you anything about their identity. You know, you take a look at Paul's team and you'll notice very quickly that, you know, a few sacks and a few, you know, fumble recoveries for touchdowns can make your team seem like, you know, it can make you seem like you drafted so wisely, when in reality, your team is really just average. So Pedro missed the playoffs after starting off 5-0, and the only thing that Andy doesn't have on his side is history, because Andy has historically been a shitty owner. Now, he does make the playoffs here and there. That's not really Andy's problem. It's just when he's finishing out the seasons, he always ends up in a mediocre style. Now, since 2010, Andy's first 5 games have gone as follows. In 2010, Andy started off with 2-3. 2011, 1-4, 2012, 3-2, then 3-2, and 3-2 in 2014, 2015, 1-4, and then 2016 through last year, he started off at 2-3. So Andy really only has 2 seasons in 2011 and 2015 where he started off 1-4 in the first 5 games. So Andy traditionally doesn't really start off horrible, you know, and horrible doesn't mean under 500. Horrible is, you know, is Joe and I, you know, is, you know, 0-5 or 1-4. So typically Andy comes out of the gate swinging, but it doesn't really lead to anything. Currently, Andy has tied his longest winning streak, which he had done in 2016, weeks 8 through 12. Andy won 5 games in a row. So maybe now Andy can make some history for himself and actually start to positively affect his future, rather than just tarnish it with fucking stupid moves and just, you know, just overall just not giving a shit about his fantasy team. So Andy is the best team in the league. It hurts me to say that, and this really was just an excuse to shit on Paul, which is, you know, I'm always for that. The next item that I'd like to move on to is I'd like to talk about 3 mediocre teams, you know, 3 of which I already have my eye on them as to, you know, who's going to make up the playoff list roster or the Kool-Aid sippers. And those 3 teams are as follows: Orlando, Hensel, and Eric. All 3 teams with a record of 2-2. Ewok Rape is in the lead by scoring 429 points. Fuck You in second with 424 points. And Green Ranger with 423. So they're, again, like Paul and Andy, scoring-wise, they're basically the same team. But here's why they are headed to nowhere. Orlando, for example, Matt Ryan is his 6th ranked quarterback. Matt Ryan is the 6th ranked quarterback. Julio Jones, 9th ranked wide receiver. Zach Ertz, 6th ranked tight end. All right. So that's 3 players that Orlando has in the top 10. and he's only able to score 423 points. Hensel has Chris Goodwin as the number one wide receiver and Evan Ingram as the third-ranked tight end. Not as bad as Orlando. Eric is the worst. Eric has 4 players in the top 10. He has Legatron as the very first kicker. He has the Titans as the 4th-ranked defense, George Kittle as the 9th-ranked tight end, and Deshaun Watson as the 2nd-ranked quarterback. So these teams, you know, they aren't even at 500 points yet, and they have, you know, a bulk of players who are definitely scoring. So you can only assume when these players sort of, you know, reach their, you know, they're sort of their middle ground or their base, their standard, what's going to happen to the rest of your scoring? Where's the rest of the scoring going to come from? You know, those are the only questions I have for the 3 of you. That's all I'm wondering. After all, I'm just inquiring, right? I'm just asking. Those 3 teams are just, they're middle of the road. You know, they're average in my opinion. Now Joe is going, you know, Joe's going through it. And if Joe's not careful, he could be well on his way to beating Eric's record set in 2010 of 9 games lost in a row. Joe is, of course, at 5. And as always, we will monitor that here at the Recap Center. Another item that I want to correct that I had said in the chat, that the highest score ever was Paul, and then I thought it was another figure, and then Orlando said it was 152 and it was probably Eric. We both were wrong. In 2014, Paul and Eric had what was quite possibly the highest scoring affair of all time. Paul won 148 to 160. So Paul, as I thought, is the owner of the highest score ever, along with Ed in 2015, who scored 160 as well. So 160 is the highest point total for all those who are wondering, and I'm sure there's only about, you know, two or three of us. So we're going to make this very short. What I'll do is move along to the week 5 scores. And God, this thing is like taking forever to load. Of course, we had Team Bundy defeating Pineapple Jugglers 115 to 72. 25 points from Adam Thielen, 20 from Lindsay, 17 points from Patrick Mahomes. Jesus fucking Christ, I do not want to watch another primetime game with the Kansas City Chiefs, because the sound of suction coming from my computer listening to these fucking people blow Patrick Mahomes every opportunity that they get. And then when you go up to the commercials, it's like 2 or 3 Patrick Mahomes commercials. It's like, Jesus Christ, NFL, we get it, guys. Nida Khalid defeats fuck you 89 to 81. Of course, getting 26 points from Jacobs, 17 from Cooper Kupp, and 13 from Freeman. Hensel, as I said, has the number 1 wide receiver, 24 points from Chris Goodwin, 15 points from David Johnson, but it was not enough to beat Pedro. Jago Papa with 131 points to Paul's 108. Paul, that is a terrible team name. Any team name that has to be sort of explained and is like very obscure. Not that it's obscure, because, you know, the movies that you know is the movies that you know, but it's just like, you know, just the Raleigh Thomasy, like it's goofy, Paul. It's corny, and that's why Andy's better than you. 131 to 108. Andy wins. 41 points from Christian McCaffrey, 19 points from Dalvin Cook, and 18 from Tyler Boyd. Then after that, we had Ewok Rape defeating Green Ranger 101 to 91. Deshaun Watson, 41 points, 14 points from Kittle. And on the other side, Orlando got 31 points from Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan wakes up, you know, and finally does something with his life. I can't trust Matt Ryan. God bless you, Orlando, for fucking, you know, for depending on Matt Ryan to be one half of your Hydra, but that shit's not gonna work, man. It's not gonna give you what you had last year when you had Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins. It's just not the same thing. It's like off-brand. It's an off-brand Hydra, non-alcoholic Hydra. Finishing out the games, we had Dad Bod winning 136, Two Child Pleases 128, 41 points. A lot of people 41 points. 41 points from Aaron Jones, 30 from Mike Thomas, and 25 points from K. Murray. I'm not even sure what the Cardinals quarterback first name is. Now, moving on to the Week 6 matchups, we have Team Bundy going up against Dad Bod. Jay, I haven't lost to you since probably 2016. After I defeated you in the chip in 2017, I beat you twice last year. This is only going to go in the same direction. It's just this is what it is between us now, Jay. What was once a rivalry is now sort of one-sided. You get it? You understand how it works? It kind of works in the same way as like Brady versus like Peyton. Like it was a thing at one point, but then after a while, it's like no. Peyton's the guy. I mean Tom is the guy. You see, even in my analogy, I shit on myself. We also have Pineapple Jugglers going up against Ewok Rape, Jego Papa going up against Child Please, Nida Kali, and the Green Ranger. And finishing out the Week 6 matchups, we have RT. I don't even know what to call your teams. Like, I don't even want to read that name, Rolo Tomasi. Like, it just doesn't, it doesn't roll off the tongue very well. It's just, fuck you, Paul. Just fuck you and your stupid fucking name and your stupid fucking defense that I hope the Giants fucking torch the Patriots defense today, and you can see exactly what it is that I mean. So we have Rallo Tomasi going up against Team Fuck You, right? This was your Week 6 recap. I haven't bought the recaps to you. There's several reasons why I haven't bought the recaps to you, and I really want you guys to listen to this and don't comb over this. This isn't don't confuse this with like hate or anything like this. This is like real shit. So since May, I've been developing a series. As some of you may know, if some of you know or don't know, I really don't give a shit. You guys aren't my YouTube audience. But as some of you may know, since 2011, I've been on YouTube. I've been doing this content creator thing. And the climate of sort of, of what I do has kind of changed, and I paid attention to it. So since May, I've been developing a totally different concept, a totally different series of what I do. And doing the recaps, the first few weeks just wasn't in my interest, because one thing that I decided to do was actually do a focus group with, about 10 to 15 people from my audience. People who've been following me for years, so they know what my content is about, so they can give me honest opinions about what they think. And probably next week I'll be showing you guys exactly what it is that I'm doing, because I'll actually need people as subjects. If that's something that you guys want to do, you guys will probably dismiss this and, all be fucking stupid assholes. But for those of you who want to participate, next week I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm doing. So that's part of the reason. Because don't forget, man, when I do these recaps, like, I don't give a shit if I'm making something for 9,000 people or just 9 of you. I don't care. So there has to be an amount of time put into it. And part of what I got from the focus group was people gave me feedback on 2 main questions that I had. I asked them, how long would you want these videos to be? And how many times a week would you like them to be? And, for the most part, most of them said 2 is pretty much the sweet spot, like 1 to 2 videos a week. So now that I know the volume that I'll need for this content, which I'm releasing probably late November, now I know that it's just 1 to 2 videos a week, and I've already started shooting episodes. So most of the work is being done already. So the volume doesn't have to be there. And my fear was that by doing the recaps, it would interfere with it from week to week while I'm recording stuff for my new series. So you motherfuckers ain't getting in the way of that because you guys aren't fucking paying me to do, you guys aren't paying me to do this. So go fuck yourselves, okay? Look, I already told you guys to go fuck yourselves before I traditionally tell you guys to go fuck yourselves. You see, I'm so out of this. This is like the very first time that I've spoken anything into a microphone since May. So this is interesting. But as always, may your quarterbacks get hurt before they leave the locker room. May your wide receivers pull their hamstrings, and may your running backs get arrested for marijuana possession. Go fuck yourselves.